Today on Dateline NBC, Two-Spirit Penguin interviews Hunter Biden.
I did not.
Now, Hunter, I saw the video. It seemed as if you may have been enjoying a glass dick while having your dick rubbed by crackhead feet. Now, these feet looked like they had a few boils on them. Please tell me, were you concerned about germs and the spread of the coronavirus?
Listen, I can't confirm nor deny such allegations of feet rubs or foot jobs or crack smoking, but there were boils, yes. And we could have got the coronavirus, maybe. But I wasn't thinking about it at the time. But again, I cannot confirm the first matter.
Is it true that you were in Wuhan at Ground Zero when the Wuhan flu came? Could it have been that your escapades actually started this global crisis?
It's just merely a coincidence. I was haggling for dog in the local market at the time with my buddy Yin Yang.
That is racist, sir. I demand you apologize.
I think, the culture just needs to get with the times. I think dog is really good. Yeah. Need I say more?
Put on your big Hollywood sunglasses and light the torch, because it's cellar time. Welcome to the Crack Cellar. As the prophecy was once given a foot job, I'm Two-Spirit Penguin Daniel.
Broadcaster Nickels isn't here right now.
And today we're going to talk a little multiplayer beta first impressions of Call of Duty Cold War. Broadcaster Nickels, I was quite a bit surprised by this beta. I was going into it not expecting any enjoyment. I thought, okay, with Cold War, I'm just going to go in for the campaign, in and out. I didn't think I'd even touch the multiplayer in this game. And lo and behold, I got into this beta with you as well, and it was more fun than I've had playing Call of Duty multiplayer in at least 6 years. I struggle to think of one since Modern Warfare 2 that I had as much fun with.
Yeah. I mean, I try to reserve my excitement and my expectations because I got the same feeling with Black Ops 4 when Blackout first came, at the last minute when they showed Blackout, I was like, oh my God, this is what's going to bring me back from Call of Duty. And it did, honestly. I hadn't played Call of Duty previously since I don't know how long. Modern Warfare 3, I think. And
the worst one. That's the worst Call of Duty of all time.
To get to the point, I guess, was that the feeling persisted for the next two games, which is Modern Warfare and now this one coming up, Cold War. It just seems like I'm am I just in this Call of Duty machine now? Am I getting to that level where it's just every time a Call of Duty drops, it's hype, because it seems like they fall flat every fucking year. And this is going to be the third time. And if they fail me this time, I'm just probably going to jump ship, like I did so long ago. But
yeah, I wasn't hyped at all for Black Ops 4 multiplayer. I was in the beta for that as well, and I wasn't super impressed with it. I wasn't super impressed with the multiplayer in Modern Warfare either, although it was cool how different it was. Yeah. It was obviously it's a new engine, and it felt much more realistic, which is what they were going for. It felt heavier and weightier, and all the movement was slowed down, and it felt like it rewarded strategy over running and gunning, which I liked. But it had no staying power for me. I could not play Modern Warfare multiplayer past match 20, and I just got bored as fuck with it. I think I did 50 matches of Cold War just in beta alone, and I probably would still be playing it right now if the beta was still up.
Yeah. The levels were boring. I think that was Modern Warfare's main weakness
Yeah.
this go around. The levels were just kind of mundane, besides the ones that came back from previous games.
Yeah, and with Cold War, I liked every level except for Cartel. Cartel, I thought, was super just generic boilerplate Call of Duty level.
Cartel I hated at first. It was my least favorite. It kind of grew on me, but it's still definitely in the end stayed my least favorite. But at the end, I gained a little respect for it. Once you get the feel of Cartel, you can play it. And that's one thing I will say about Cold War's maps right off the bat. The dynamic movements and geography that you can pretty much navigate in each level is way more. Like there's just way more of it than Modern Warfare. One, the grappling's back, which allows what I just said. But just for take the least favorite level, for instance, which is Cartel. That is a focal point hill level where you have two asymmetrical sides, and at the very middle there's a pretty much elevated hillside that has one side's going downhill and then one's going into a hangar. And I just think if you know how to play that level well, then let me take back what I said. That level is the most manipulatable. If you know what you're doing, then that level you can dominate on the easiest.
Yeah, the level design was on point. Even the level I don't like, Cartel, what you're talking about right now, it is a very well-designed level. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say it's not well-designed. I just didn't like the motif. I didn't like the generic nature of it. But you're right. Like, as soon as we first played that level...
It's the most dynamic level they have.
It is. Like, one game and you realize, oh, dude, like, there are some very specific points of power on this map, and it's very well distributed across the map.
No doubt.
And
it's just small. That's why I think it kind of falls short. I think it's its biggest weakness when it comes to longevity playing. Is that it's a small map and it's only available. It only feels good with certain variants. So
the main problem I have with it is that it feels like a map that I've already played 100 times. It's a new map and I've never played it before, but the very first time I played it, I could swear to God that I'd played this map 100 times.
It could be from a previous Call of Duty.
It's possible. One, so. I've skipped a few, but it's definitely not from any of the ones I've played. But it's similar to lots of levels that I have played. It has very similar... so like that area at the bottom of the map that's sort of like a little creek or whatever. I don't know what that actually is, but it's like this little crevice that runs at the bottom of the map. They have a version of that, I swear, in every Call of Duty. Like, there's just this version where there's a little stone underbelly of this map that like goes underneath, and then there are like sight lines above it.
Yeah. Well, I have no doubt they have they suffer from a psychological template imprint, if you will, from making the same game for so many years, you know?
Yeah.
Even if they try not to, they're still going to have those traits just built into their building.
Yeah. It's definitely very similar to past Treyarch maps. Like, I swear Treyarch does a version of this map every one of their games, but it's a little different every time. And I think you just give it a rest. Let's go for fully different. Like Miami. What a level Miami is.
It is. It's a really good level. Again, I don't know if it might be a remake of another Call of Duty's.
I highly doubt it. Miami was really such a hot... It feels really tailored to Cold War because Miami was a huge hotspot in the Cold War with Cuba and everything. So it just makes sense that area would be specific to Cold War. Yeah.
It's a dope level. I think it's my favorite pick out of all of them.
Yeah. For the regular multiplayer levels, definitely. So we have the regular multiplayer in the beta, but then we also had like that fire team mode that had like 20 versus 20, and it had huge maps. And one of them was that ship level with like zip lines connecting all the ships together. That was incredible.
Yeah, I don't honestly. I guess I should say that's my favorite traditional tiny map, like 10v10 or 5v5 deathmatch or hard point or domination or whatever, kill confirmed, whatever you like. But the other one, Mosh Pit, is what I think you're referring to, and then the other two, which was
call that Mosh Pit. That's a dumb name.
It's Mosh Pit, and then there's Dirty Bomb, and then there's a third one. I forget what it was. Oh yeah, VIP. VIP, I totally hated because, well, I shouldn't say totally hated. I just didn't get into it because you need a full team that's mic'd and ready to communicate. You can't just lobby into VIP. It's just garbage.
Yeah, VIP is definitely a pre-made mode. You want to have a full team.
For sure. And Dirty Bomb's almost just the same, but I won enough in Dirty Bomb just queuing as a blueberry into a random group that I was confident that it could be done, but still it wasn't the greatest experience. What we were playing, which I think was Mosh Pit, that was my favorite out of the three. Just because you could play Armada, which was the coolest level, period. If you're combining all the maps they have, that was the most dope level I've ever seen on a Call of Duty game.
It was so cool. Fucking cool, dude. So it's basically 5 frigate, like giant military boats with surrounding boats.
The game type, right?
Yeah, I forget exactly what it was called.
It's like 5 capture points, and you have to continuously get them.
Well, it had different modes. So, like, in that mode that you queue into, within it, there are several variants. And one of them...
They were all capture variants.
They were all capture variants, but they were slightly different. So one was like, you go for this capture, someone wins or loses, move on to the next capture. Win, lose, move on to the next capture. Then there was just like a straight-up domination variant, where it's like you're always trying to have control of all of the capture points.
Oh, yeah, right.
So it's very subtle, the difference. The one where you'd move on from point to point felt much more like something that you'd want to do in like ranked mode. Like it felt like a ranked style mode. And it might be. That might be what it was. We might have been beta testing.
Could be. Yeah. I don't know. That mode seemed chaotic enough to the point where I was just getting kills with the sniper.
Yeah.
Like just some dirty ass kills. I mean, how great is it that swimming's back, by the way? So refreshing.
Yeah.
Swim again.
Half the games, I would just stand out in the ocean sniping people from the water. Yeah. It was fucking amazing. And people would come after me in the water. I'd jump down. I'd do a little dive and I'd fucking have a sniper battle with them underwater. Totally brought back those old school Blackout vibes. I loved every second of my time in that mode. It was awesome.
And not only is it fun, it's meta.
It's super meta,
yeah.
And there's like 4 different types of vehicles, right? Like there's 2 boat variants and 2 Wave Runner variants, or maybe 1 Wave Runner. So there might be 3. But like the way that you have a Wave Runner, you just like look at it, hit F, you jump on it, you drop down to the water like a fucking badass, and then you're just off to the races. And like these things handle just like real Wave Runners. It was really fun using them. Like you could go on little suicide runs because they're so fast. People can't really shoot you off them. I mean, they can if they're really fucking good, but it's hard.
It matters on your line of sight.
Definitely. But you could use those things to like do little suicide runs where you're just going full blast into an area, then you jump off real quick and go underwater, and then kind of they don't know where you're at, and you can kind of go Rambo
swim
on them.
Under these boats.
Yeah,
that's like, well, at least the middle one, though, the cat that has the 2 sections that you can go in between. Those the bottom of those are a little bit thinner than the bigger boat on the side, but I just thought it was so dope that you can actually swim underneath these boats.
Yeah, it was cool, and I don't know if this is copying Battlefield because I don't really play Battlefield, but like from like the press and like the promotional material I've seen from Battlefield, it feels like this mode might have been them trying to steal some thunder from them. What do you think?
Yeah, it definitely felt more like a Battlefield level, but there wasn't enough like activity going on. Battlefield is way more busy I'll say, like people are constantly parachuting in with loadouts, and then they're driving planes. They can bring in blimps and tanks constantly. Like it's a literal war zone on most Battlefield games. Or I might be thinking of Bad Company. I'm not quite sure. I don't play enough of those games to know. But
I thought Bad Company was a Battlefield game. Am I tripping?
Was it?
I don't know anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, I'll say that the weapon balance was really interesting in this game because I felt like every single weapon was good. And I don't usually feel like that in any first-person shooters, but there was not a single weapon I used in that game where I felt, oh, I can't use this. This is GIMP. This is wet noodle.
I felt that at first, and then, first I'll say you're right, but at first I thought all the weapons were equal. Then I realized it was just like any other Call of Duty, and there were 2 guns or 3 guns that were in particularly the best. Those 3 being the Spaz shotgun, the what was it, the CAG 6 or Crag 6, I forget, the submachine gun or whatever it was, and then the M4A1 or M4, whatever they called it in that game. I think it was the M4A1. Yeah, you dope those out, and especially the Spaz, dude. When I could hear people coming up, even if my shots were all shit, I could just unload 12 shots with that thing so quick, and if 3 of them just partially hit, it was game over.
Yeah, the shotgun play in that game was super old school feeling. Like it felt like playing Doom almost with the double barrel.
Yeah. Gave me some old Halo vibes with the shotgun.
Yeah, it has an old school power level that you don't usually like. The shotguns in Modern Warfare are fucking garbage. Like this is a huge reversal from that. Like shotguns felt super meta in Cold War beta.
No doubt.
And it's interesting how Treyarch has sort of just put a stake in the ground and said, "Hey, we're the arcade Call of Duty." They've sort of like stuck that as their identity now with this Cold War game, because they had a chance to say, we're going to follow Modern Warfare into this new engine, into this new style. They said, fuck you, Infinity Ward. We're sticking with our shit. This is not anything like Modern Warfare. It's the old engine. It's the old style of gameplay. It's the old style of weapon balance. Everything just feels like old arcadey style Call of Duty.
Yeah. Well, I always take the whole it's the same engine type thing lightly, because it's clearly gone through refinements. It's been a few years.
It's improved for sure.
It's improved quite a bit, and they've had time to master their skills with said engine on top of that. So
true, but you can tell it is
good, if not better, than what Modern Warfare brought.
It is definitely the Black Ops 4 engine improved, though, because you jump into the water the first time, and it's instantly recognizable if you spent any time in the water in Blackout. It is definitely the same engine.
Yeah, there's nothing cooler than jumping off a zip line halfway into the water, or off a jet ski or something like that into the water, or fucking drive around with a battle boat, someone on the turret on the back, and you're just raising hell. Because I've gone on a killing spree with some of those boats.
Yeah. It's cool too, because usually with those types of gun boats, one person has to drive and one person gets to shoot the turret. In this mode, I don't know if this is permanent or if it was just a beta thing, but you drove the boat and you aimed the turret and used the weapon.
That's the primary weapon, yeah. But there's a secondary turret on the back. Oh. No one really jumped in, but
I never even noticed that.
Yeah, it's pretty because it's you're kind of exposed. A lot of sniper play goes on that level. It's kind of a risky position to be in.
Yeah. Yeah, and Dirty Bomb is basically like them doing an undercover battle royale, just like missing a few key components, just enough to where Activision won't lash their hands, saying, "We told you not to make a battle royale."
Yeah, it's clearly the remnants of Blackout.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt about that. on a different map. I don't know what it is, to be honest. It's kind of weird. Like, maybe they're trying to say that you can take the principles of Battle Royale and kind of make it smaller and more of like a core traditional type, like amongst Kill Confirmed and stuff like that. Maybe that's what they're experimenting with. But right now, what they're giving you, which is Dirty Bomb, just seems like a half-cocked Battle Royale.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically just Battle Royale with respawning and no looting weapons on the ground or whatever. So like you still loot, you still find chests, but instead of finding weapons, you find perks. You find like attack helicopters and shit like that.
Yep.
So it is interesting. Like the lines they're drawing with that mode feel very interesting and arbitrary in odd ways, as if like they're being told this is how far you can go and no further.
I hope if that game type is not successful, that they at least repurpose that map for something else, because that map is super dope. And being able to get on the snowmobiles and going uphill and going to the other side and stuff, it's super dope. I like it. They need to keep it.
Yeah.
It's like a giant ski resort, right? That's what it is.
I think that is, yeah, it is. And that is definitely one of the things I liked on the meta of this game. It's like on one end we have the wave runners, and on the other end we have the snowmobiles, like my two favorite forms of travel. Just boom, right there for you. The snowmobiles feel a little less accurate. The wave runners, the wave runners feel perfect. Like when I was driving those around, I'm like, God damn, this is like a simulation. Like the way the physics worked with the wave runner was perfect. But the snowmobiles, not so much. It's almost like you're snowmobiling on ice a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little slick.
Yeah, but I'm hoping they'll shore that up a little bit. But Broadcaster Nickels, are you ready to get to our preview of a movie that's so relevant to our time that I couldn't even say it without stuttering? Fatman.
Man, you should have seen the grin on my fucking face when my our other brother, I should say, told me about Fatman. He's just like, dude, Mel Gibson's playing Santa Claus. And I was like, this is because that's how our brother sounds.
Done and done.
And I was like, man, this is going to be lame or something. Because I thought maybe he was actually taking it to the literal biblical route. You know, he was going to do some Passion of the Christ ex Santa Claus type shit. And I was like, I'm not about this. But then my mind was quickly changed when I watched the preview. No, this is more like Edge of Darkness meets Santa Claus, all right? Mixing malt and goggins. Yeah, dude, I'm stoked for this movie.
That was a stunning endorsement from one Hunter Biden.
Take that back.
What's that? You want more Crack Cellar? This is good. Join your lords on Twitter at The Crack Cellar and Facebook.com/The Crack Cellar.
Hey, you over there. Are you a straight up Chad or a strong woman? Well, you can find us on Apple Podcasts and your favorite podcasting app. Or, if you're a straight up beta cuck, find us on YouTube with the rest of the Cloud Chasers. And we're back with our preview of Fatman. Broadcaster Nickels, what in the hell is this movie? What do you think this movie truly is? Do you think that we're dealing with an action movie, a comedy, or a horror?
It's definitely not a horror. I think it's going to be a drama, action, family get-together, great time. Kind of like Die Hard and what are those other two great movies? Oh, yeah, Die Hard 2 and 3.
Yeah, it feels like Duke Nukem Santa Claus to me. Like I could just see him going into a titty bar and waving cash in front of a 3-tittied alien chick. That's the vibes I was getting from this movie.
Fuck yeah. It's one of the main things the future has disappointed me on. No 3-titty chicks yet. What the fuck?
I'm surprised no one's like done it like with plastic surgery. You know, like there's so many weirdos out there that do so many weird things to their bodies.
I was just joking. There was somebody that did it.
Oh God, damn it!
Ain't right.
God damn it. Well,
moving on.
So in Fatman, the story seems to revolve around a rich kid getting mad about getting coal as a Christmas present, and he immediately picks up his cell phone and calls a hitman that he apparently has on speed dial and puts a hit out on Santa Claus.
Yeah, which I kind of felt the setup for it was weird, because before it shows you the kid getting the lump of coal, it shows Mel Gibson, Santa Claus, in a bar talking to one of the other patrons across the table. And he's like, how are the kids in the cold this year? And he's like, who the hell are you? And then it goes to the rich kid opening his present, you know, and finding it's coal. And then he's outside like, you've crossed the wrong motherfucker, right? And then he hires a professional killer to hunt down Santa Claus. So I'm not quite sure. I was like, that dad looked really poor and he was in a poor man's bar, and then this kid's really rich and can hire a professional killer. I don't know.
Yeah, that scene in the bar is one of the ones that stands out as odd, and this trailer was cut in a very weird way.
It was.
They cut this trailer so that you don't really know what the movie is.
Yeah, maybe. It's weird. Like I do get that vibe at some point, but that might just be us, you know, just being like, because Mel Gibson doesn't make a lot of movies, and maybe they just had to cut it weird because they had to do a lot of takes or something. He's kind of an old dude. I respect Mel Gibson, don't get me wrong. I like the guy as an actor, but just looking at him, I get the feeling that he's probably not the easiest to work with.
It's funny too, because I watch almost every Mel Gibson movie that comes out, including just like the really obscure ones most people have never heard of. And I will say over the last 6 years or so, every single movie Mel Gibson is in, he has a black woman as his love interest. Which is very funny, because you can tell they're doing it on purpose to be like, see, Mel Gibson isn't a racist. He's fine, guys. Look,
he definitely didn't reference a pack of any animals with a certain race of people. That did not happen. I mean, it's kind of almost necessary nowadays. You know, you have to have. It went from having a token black person, or, you know, whatever that, even if that was ever a thing, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever you want to project into a character of color on a movie.
That would be a BIPOC character of color, Broadcaster Nickels. You know, please don't get us canceled.
Yes. It's a wacky world we live in. But nonetheless, it went from kind of this passive, casual, projected role, if you will, to this like enforcer standard role. Like, you don't have a black person in your movie? What?
What?
Are you racist? Beforehand, it was like, oh, here's the only black dude. Here we go. Now it's like, it's kind of weird. It's like, now they really are a token black person. Now you literally made it a token black person.
Well, I think it's flipped totally the other direction. Now we have token white people. Like, look at Star Wars Squadrons that we reviewed last episode. They each side had a token white person. It's pretty funny, honestly.
It's just, I think the heart of the matter is that anytime you try to control gender or ethnicity inside of what you're trying to create is genuine, it just stands out. It just immediately pops out. You're just like, why are all these black women, or why is it all transgender people, or why it's like, even when it's all white people, it just doesn't feel, unless it was like, it's like a historic piece and it's supposed to be all white people or all supposed to be black people, then it just doesn't make sense. It's like, my mind immediately picks this out.
Yeah, and that's a big deal in UK right now. The British television industry has decided that they are going to do television shows about historical events of Europe and just replace all of the actors with black actors. So like you're seeing like imagine like King Arthur, like the tale of King Arthur, and it's just all black people. No, that's what they're doing to everything over there. It's so funny how these pendulum shifts happen, and it's like, yeah, it was pretty lame when there was just like one token black guy, or like, you know, black people didn't get opportunities back in the day. Yeah, that was all lame. But now it's just flipping all the way over to the point where it's like, you're not allowed to tell your history with accurate portrayals because you're afraid to be called racist.
It makes you think sometimes when people say Jesus was black. And you say, no, he wasn't. Look at all these things that show white Jesus. But then there's times like these where you're just like, damn, that shit really does happen.
It does.
Maybe Jesus was black. Fuck, I don't know anymore.
Well, I think it's most likely that Jesus was an extraterrestrial. But
no doubt.
If we're talking real here. You know, one thing I noticed about this trailer right off the bat is it is made by Saban Films, aka the Power Rangers company. What do you think about that?
I think that Jason Frank just got on Twitter and green-lighted told
pun
everybody.
Intended? Pun intended?
No doubt. He confirmed the green-lighting of a new, darker, grittier Power Rangers movie that's going to have the White Ranger he's playing. Based off of the 1990s Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So
are you being real right now?
Yeah, I'm being real. I don't know if Sabian Films is behind it.
They have to be. They own They are so militant about the rights to Power Rangers.
Yeah, so maybe this is just them getting money. Mm-hmm. You know, they have Mel Gibson, so they're like, let's just do an outrageous film that we know is going to just sell.
Man, well, if this movie's trailer is any indication, I think that Saban Films is going in the correct direction because,
no doubt.
Man, there were at least 6 amazing one-liners from Gibson in this trailer. And this is a short, like 1.5 minute trailer, and he just utters some gold multiple times in this trailer. It starts off with him being like, these kids ain't listening to me anymore. Maybe it's time to retire the coat.
They think what I do is a joke.
And there's like a part towards the end of the trailer where fucking Skinny Man, aka the assassin, shows up and he's like, I've come for you, fat man. and it just pans to Mel Gibson with the straightest face you've ever seen, straighter than the face when he was
blue eyes.
Dude, he made a stronger, more straight face than he did when he was doing the William Wallace speech in Braveheart, okay? He looks and he just says, you think you're the first? Like, it was one of the, like, I got goosebumps, man. You can just tell that Mel Gibson is taking this movie very fucking seriously with his delivery of these lines in this trailer. There's no doubt he thinks this is a serious movie.
Well, it's Mel Gibson's never been a comedian, but he has done serious movies. Well, he's done comedic roles in his past, like Lethal Weapon and stuff like that. But those were kind of like comedy action. He's never been a stand-up comedian. He's never done pure comedy roles. No. Well, he was the dad in Stepfather or Fathers or something like that.
No,
with Mark Wahlberg.
It was Daddy's Home.
Daddy's Home. Yeah. No.
Was
that the one with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's actually Daddy's Home 2. I think it was the sequel to Daddy's Home.
It is, yeah. So there are outliers, but mainly he's not a comedian, but he is. I think he's very self-aware that a lot of his more serious roles, like Edge of Darkness of late and other things, people get this dark sense of comedy out of his roles because of how serious he takes them. So maybe he might be capitalizing on them, because personally, that's why Edge of Darkness stands out as such a great film to me, because if you look at the script for that movie, you're like, this is B schlock. This is total B schlock. But then you watch it and you're just like, dude, Mel Gibson is hitting this out of the fucking park right now. What's going on? So I think that's exactly going to be the case with this Fatman movie. Is you look at if you were not to watch that trailer, you just read that Fatman script or trailer script, you're like, what?
The premise of this movie makes it seem like it's a joke.
Yeah.
And that's what's so crazy when you see Mel Gibson delivering the lines in this trailer, because your brain is telling you this is a joke movie. This is like Spaceballs for Santa Claus. That's what this should be. That's what it feels like in my head. But then you see him just deliver these guttural, serious, dead serious lines. And you're just like, God damn, dude, what is happening here?
I know the movies have nothing to do with each other, but when I first saw the trailer for Mandy with Nick Cage, I was just like, that's fucking really weird. And I'm excited about it. It's the same feeling I'm getting for Fatman.
Totally, dude. Little different, but same feeling.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm watching, but I'm pretty hard right now.
I think that we are in for some serious Mel Gibson with this movie. I don't think this is going to be one he phones in. I just am not getting that vibe from the trailer. But what do you think about Walton Goggins as Skinny Man? Do you like Walton Goggins? You a fan of his?
Yeah, his older stuff I'm a pretty big fan of. I think he was in S.H.I.E.L.D., wasn't he, with Dick Macy? Wasn't he Dick Macy's partner? So, I mean, yeah, I respect him from those days, because who can't respect the S.H.I.E.L.D., right?
Yeah.
And then he was also in Crazy 8. Quentin Tarantino.
Oh shit!
He's
you mean the Hateful Eight? Yeah, you're
Eight.
right, dude. I forgot he was in that. He was so good in that too, and I forgot.
For sure.
Wow,
For sure. Oh,
I feel bad now, man.
He's a phenomenal actor. But what I'm saying is that he's had a couple misses, but he's also fucking great in Vice Principals.
Yeah, that's what I remember him the most from. He was amazing in Vice Principals.
But he has an old cow. He's been acting for a long time. He has some real losing parts though. Like recently he's doing a show on Netflix, I think, or it's Amazon Prime. Our brother's watching it right now, and
the unicorn.
Unicorn. And I wanted to watch it, and I just I got past the first 2 episodes, and I'm just like, he shouldn't be playing a human comedic role. He's really good at playing bad people. He's really good at doing villains or more serious people, like in Vice Principals is a really good role for him. Mm-hmm. He kind of a bad person, but over the progression of the series, he gets humanized a little bit, and he becomes a little, you start to feel for him a little bit more.
Totally. Yeah. I saw the trailer for the unicorn and I felt bad for him. I was like, God damn, dude. You must have needed some money.
I don't think he did. I think it's honestly him trying to appeal to the times. Because if you watch it, it's kind of it's really cringy.
Dude, the trailer was super cringy. What the fuck is our little brother doing watching that show? We need to set up an intervention, don't we? This is not good.
Terrible taste.
This is a red alert. I think I had no idea he was seriously watching such filth.
He also watches Lucifer.
That one I'm not surprised by. That one I totally get. But the unicorn is shocking even for him.
Yeah, that show's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
I really wanted to like it because I saw Walton.
Yeah, I know. I like him too. And I could totally see him as a hitman. It's funny too. I never thought of him as a hitman, but as soon as I watched this trailer, I'm just like, yeah, he's totally a hitman. It just makes sense. He looks like one.
Oh yeah, dude. He totally that fucking smile, dude. He's like Timothy Olyphant.
Oh, good comparison.
I know they're not related, but when I first saw
that smile,
I honestly thought they were kind of related because their teeth. I was like, they just got this killer teeth.
Maybe they learned to act at the same acting troupe or something, and they were taught to smile the same way. Because I do feel like they have a weird smile in common, which is interesting.
I think God gave him some fucking immaculate grills. I think that's what
Well, most people in Hollywood were born with Hunter Biden's teeth, and then they replaced them with veneers. So let's not give them too much credit over there. You've seen the pictures. So this movie, it seems like it's going to end with a crazy one-on-one battle between Skinny Man and Fat Man. Yes. And I cannot fucking wait. The few seconds it showed from this final battle, like you see like C4 explosions going off in barns. You see fucking Skinny Man screaming into the sky in the middle of like a snowy field and shit. Like it just seems like it's going to be epic as fuck.
I got the epic vibe for about 5 seconds in.
Yeah.
Which I recommend anybody listening to go watch that trailer right now. Pause the shit and go watch it, because that's an amazing trailer.
It was. It is a compelling trailer. Very, very, like, think of the difference between our last preview, Free Guy. That trailer literally made me not want to watch the movie anymore. This trailer is the exact opposite. I was like, what is this? Watch the trailer. I have to watch this as if my life depended on it.
Yeah. Well, the difference is Free Guy, in my opinion, my assumption, is a bad movie that needs good press or creative press to make it look great. As the opposite, Fatman can already tell is going to be a phenomenal movie and needs no press at all, and they just can shave a little slice off the block and give it to him and be like, this is amazing.
Well, Broadcaster Nickels, all of that being said, do you give Fatman the thumbs up, the thumbs down, or the dreaded side thumb?
I give it one enthusiastic Obama thumb.
You can keep that thumb. Yeah, definitely thumbs up for me. This is probably my most excited. I'm more excited for this movie than I think I am any other movie coming out in 2020. I think this is skyrocketed to the top of my list for what's coming. And I get it. That's not a high bar. There ain't too much coming out the last 3 months, but there are a few. Wonder Woman 1984. This definitely
Mel Gibson's
passed
been
that.
Working. Tell you that.
So yeah, I think that we're definitely going to end up reviewing this movie as well too. So
no doubt,
we shall see. Broadcaster Nickels, are you ready to get to our review of Hubie Halloween?
I'm not prepared.
You should have brought a snack. And we're back with our review of Steve Brill's Hubie Halloween. And the creators of this movie describe it as the following. It's October 31st in Salem, Massachusetts, and a town's eccentric, devoted community volunteer and the good-natured object of his fellow citizens' derision and meanest pranks finds himself in the midst of a real investigation for a real murderer. Broadcaster Nickels.
What the fuck was that?
That was the official synopsis of this movie, and goddamn, that's one of the worst. That's one of the worst ones we've ever read.
I just want to point it out right now. That is a terrible synopsis, and it does not reflect the quality of the movie at all.
No, this synopsis reads like someone that wanted to sabotage this movie and get people to not watch it.
It's terrible.
So there's definite elements of old school Sandler. Like you have basically the character he plays in this movie is Bobby Boucher from Waterboy, but grown up and also maybe less stupid, but maybe not. They kind of like leave it
maybe less stupid.
They make it ambiguous. Like,
this boy's straight up retarded.
Yeah, like they try and act like, okay, he isn't retarded, but then maybe he is.
He's genius retarded. He's a savant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. They're you know what? One of the themes of this movie is mixed signals. There are multiple characters and multiple storylines that just give you mixed signals in this movie, and it's a little weird at times.
It's definitely an Adam Sandler movie.
It is, and I think personally that Adam Sandler turned in his best comedic performance since the turn of the century. I don't think he's actually been funnier in anything in the post-2000 era. What do you think?
I don't know. I can't think of anything, no. His last 3 other Netflix movies or whatever were garbage. I also wasn't a big fan of the ones he did way before that. What is it? The hairdresser guy, like the flamboyant.
Oh, Don't Mess with Zohan.
Yeah, Zohan. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan.
I think the Zohan is probably his second best of the post-2000 era, but I also wasn't a huge fan of it. It was funny, and it had some genuinely funny moments, but overall it felt like he was trying too hard.
It did. I don't know. At the time, I thought I was just getting out of Adam Sandler, but I think he just lost it back then.
Well, he was coming off Spanglish and fucking.
Oh yeah,
he didn't know what he wanted to do.
Trying to be serious. I remember.
Yeah, he has this thing where I think he wrestles with his identity as a comedic actor, and I think he takes to heart like the derision he gets from people. Like hating Adam Sandler is a pretty popular position. Like, people love to hate on Adam Sandler.
I don't know why. Guy's a fucking legend.
Well, yeah, I think that most of the people that hate on him didn't grow up with his movies from the 90s. So, like, he was a fucking legend in the 90s and into the early 2000s. And then in the late 2000s, he started to fall off the boat.
Yeah.
But,
no doubt.
Yeah, I think that he did really good in this movie. I didn't find the Waterboy impression to be too off-putting. Like, you would think maybe, I've already seen Waterboy, I don't want to see Bobby Boucher again, but he changed it just enough to where it didn't annoy you, and you didn't feel like he was just rehashing.
Yeah, there's themes in this movie. It's unique. I don't think this is a spoiler or a spoiler-esque. The movie obviously is a Halloween movie.
It's in the title.
Yeah, and you're obviously going to see a bunch of Ben Stiller's reoccurring actors, you know, and you're gonna a lot of the times you're gonna see rather straight up some people reprise their roles.
You said wait. You meant Adam Sandler, right? Because you said Ben Stiller.
Well, again, Ben Stiller is an actor. It is to the point, you know, like you're gonna see. Like some actors that you know from Adam Sandler movies play previous roles. They're kind of roles that are loosely based on what they played in other movies. And
some are loose,
the Halloween
and some are
costume, which is kind of funny. It's weird.
You're right. There is literally a cameo from every single Adam Sandler movie that exists except for Spanglish. There's no Spanglish cameo. Other than Spanglish, every other Adam Sandler movie is covered in this movie, and it's incredible. And some of the cameos are deep, some of them are shallow, some of them are for a few minutes, some of them are for half the movie, and some of them are the exact character from an older movie that shouldn't exist in this new movie, and you're just scratching your head like, whoa, what? And I we'll talk more about that in the spoilers section, but you will not be lonely while watching this movie. If you grew up watching Adam Sandler movies and you just want to watch this as like, oh, I miss Adam Sandler, you know, I miss all these movies, it's going to be like going to a high school reunion for you, because you're going to see everyone. Every single person except for Alan Covert. I don't know what he did to piss off Adam Sandler, but Alan Covert's like the only guy that doesn't have a fucking cameo in this movie.
Who's Alan Covert?
Grandma's Boy.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He's in like every Adam Sandler's movie except for this one. It's very weird.
Yeah, but he wasn't in even the peripheral Adam Sandler movies. The ones he just produced. Happy Madison Films, the one with Kevin James and the
Oh, you're talking about Grown Ups.
Yeah.
I think he did have a cameo in Grown Ups, didn't he?
Did he? I don't think he did. Now that I'm thinking about it, that movie's purpose is to actually let all of his other actors flourish. That was like one of the points of some of those other peripheral movies, and he didn't even show up in those.
I don't know. I feel like, well, okay, if he was in Grown Ups, it was like a very quick cameo, one scene cameo.
That's usually what he does, though.
It is usually what he does.
He was
except
the cameraman in Happy Gilmore. He was,
he was also the cameraman in Heavyweights.
Yes, he was.
And guess what? The director, Steve Brill of Hubie Halloween. Let me go down this list because this guy is like a undercover legend. So he wrote the Mighty Ducks trilogy. He wrote Heavyweights. And he wrote Little Nicky. He directed Heavyweights, Little Nicky, Mr. Deeds, Without a Paddle, and Drill Bit Taylor. All of those are great comedies. Like this, he has made some great movies, written and directed some great movies. I mean, I know the Mighty Ducks is a kid's movie. I grew up with the Mighty Ducks. I mean, Emilio Estevez is like he's my sports coach dad. You know what I'm saying? Like he is a cool dude, and he wrote that dude.
Emilio nowadays, guys.
Emilio,
you're not going to be impressed.
But anyway, yeah, this director who made Hubie Halloween, he has a pedigree, man. And wow, I was surprised when I found that out. I thought that he was a no-namer when I first saw his name. I'm like, I've never heard of Steve Brill. Who is this guy? And I looked up, I'm like, God damn, man, you influenced my childhood in multiple ways.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Heavyweights is one of my favorite classics of all time. That's
yeah. Heavyweights is one of those kids' movies that could never exist today.
Absolutely not.
Like, if you made Heavyweights today, like, it would be, people would have pitchforks out. They would be calling for you to be executed for even dare making the movie.
Well, that movie's premise is fat shaming.
And it's a fucking Disney movie. A Disney kids movie. And you know what? It was made in 1995. That wasn't too long ago. Today, you would literally get drawn and quartered for making Heavyweights.
Oh, what a great movie.
Yeah. But rest in peace, Alan Covert. I don't know what you did to piss off Adam Sandler, but I hope you bounce back, buddy. One of the things I didn't like much about this movie, a lot of kid and teenager scenes. They focused a little bit on the kids to the point where I almost felt like they were trying to make a teen comedy. And for me, Adam Sandler, he was making adult comedies for teenagers in the 90s. Like Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore. These movies were not kids' movies, but they appealed to kids. I was a kid when those movies came out, and they were fucking awesome. It seems like he might be falling for the trap of trying to make kids' movies to appeal to kids, which is not the way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah. Or he might just be thinking that's the mentality of viewers nowadays, which is bad.
Maybe. and I will say that I'll temper it a little bit. The whole movie isn't kids. I want to put it like 20% of the movie, maybe 25 at the most. What do you think?
I mean, it's kid friendly, and there's also that kid from Stranger Things in there. So,
oh God, I didn't even realize that was him. He hit puberty.
He hit
puberty.
He's
shit, man! The Stranger Things kid hits puberty, and he's in Hubie Halloween. Shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. He grew up in such a short amount of time.
Dude, he was the one who like coughed up the alien goo into the sink, right? At the end of season 1, or
yeah, he is the main kid.
Wow. Okay. Now that's where you know you're getting old.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
I kind of saw it like, he's kind of like getting some relevant kid actors in there, give him some spotlight, it also needs to be kid friendly and also needs to be kid relevant, so I thought it was a good move, a solid move, but it wasn't parts of the movie that really pertained to us.
Yeah. And that's a great segue into another thought I have about this movie is that it takes place in current time. And it resists that trend that's in Hollywood right now to set every movie into the 80s, Stranger Things style. Ironically, we have a Stranger Things kid actor in this movie, and he resisted that. And I'm happy he did, because I love the 80s. I love all that shit, but I think it's being overused at this point. And I think this movie didn't need to do that, and I'm glad he didn't.
Yeah, the 80s is kind of like what Zombie was 10 years ago. It was. I mean, Zombie was just being oversaturated. Zombies and vampires, werewolves. Well, actually, it was zombies. Then it was vampire and werewolves.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was superheroes. and then 80s nostalgia kind of came in parallel writing with superheroes, and I feel like they're running neck and neck, and I'm wondering which one's going to die first.
Do you think we've gone full circle and we're going to go back to vampires and werewolves again soon?
Fuck you, no.
I feel like we are. It's like fashion. Oh shit. Well, most of this movie revolves around the entire cast making relentless fun of Hubie Dubois, which, by the way, I feel like it's sort of an homage to Bobby Boucher. Hubie Dubois. It kind of has like the same cadence.
It's Creole.
Yeah. Which is fine. And I like the fact that he tied his old movies into this so strongly. I think it was a good move.
There were some parts where it was kind of hit or miss for me, just comedy wise. But the main things was his attention to detail. I don't want to say too much, but he did a really great job just bringing the most important famous elements of all of his previous movies into this, and didn't do it in a stupid way, in a cringy way. They were really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good movie. The one thing I will say is that if you are sensitive to bullying, you might be triggered by this movie, because literally everyone, like the entire movie, all the way to the very end, is just relentless bullying of Adam Sandler's character in multiple ways, multiple demographics. Every character essentially in this movie is the enemy of Adam Sandler, except for one, his love interest. And if you're someone that's bothered by that, like, you might get triggered by this. There is just a shitload of bullying in this movie.
Don't be a pussy.
Yeah. I think, I'm guessing that our audience isn't going to be the type triggered by bullying, so this is probably falling on deaf ears, but it's just one thing that I noticed, that if I knew someone that was like, really sensitive to bullying and it really like brought back bad memories or something, I might tell them, yeah, maybe skip this one. But overall, Broadcaster Nickels, before we get to our spoiler section, do you recommend Hubie Halloween to those who have not seen it yet and are about to turn off this podcast?
Absolutely. It's a great one. I like it.
Yeah.
Especially for Halloween. It's one of those movies you can rewatch. You can, especially if you have kids or something like that.
Yeah, I could see this becoming a Halloween tradition for some families. Yeah.
It's a good, and it's kind of refreshing too, especially because we just previewed a Santa Claus movie. That looks really good. It's kind of refreshing to see that there's some holiday based movies coming out here that you can see yourself watching again. That doesn't happen a lot. I mean, the last time I really was into a holiday movie, let me think. I think it was Bad Santa.
Yep, I was about to say Billy Bob.
And then before that, I think it was Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jingle All the Way.
Yep.
And then before that, it was Tim Allen with the Santa Claus.
I think the Santa Claus actually came out after Jingle All the Way.
Really?
They were super close to each other.
Oh, man, you might be right.
Yeah, I think Santa Claus came out like a year or two after Jingle All the Way. But either way, they're in the same
era. Yeah. And then before that, it was,
Die Hard.
I like where your mind's at, but I'm going to go with more in the same vein type movie, which would be National Vacation. Or
Christmas Vacation.
Christmas Vacation.
Oh, dude.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yeah. Christmas Vacation is one of those movies. It's like one of those movies that's underrated but isn't underrated. Like, you say it's underrated, but it's like, it's Chevy Chase. Everyone knows him. It's not underrated, you fool. I still feel like that movie's underrated. And you know what? It's not because of Chevy Chase either. Broadcaster Nickels, why is that movie underrated?
I'll just say one thing. It has the Quaid seal of approval. All right.
Damn straight. And by the way, follow Randy Quaid on Twitter if you haven't already. Thank me later. Crack Cellar denizens. Thank me later.
That is as a class S anomaly right there. Approach with caution.
Yeah, so I will say that I also recommend this movie. I 100% recommend it to anyone that is a fan of Adam Sandler movies, to someone that is an Adam Sandler sort of skeptic, or maybe even borderline hater. I would say you should still check it out. I think that this movie, it's not going to change any really settled minds on Adam Sandler, but if you're like a fence sitter on Adam Sandler and you're like, I could go either way, this movie might actually be for you. And I say go in, and you go in hot. This movie opens up with our man Ben Stiller reprising his role from Happy Gilmore. How fucking awesome was that?
Dude, it was one of the best parts of the movie.
Dude, it's so funny. Like, you know how like it starts and you can't really see his face yet, but you hear his voice? I instantly, not only did I instantly recognize it was Ben Stiller, I instantly recognized that it was his character from Happy Gilmore, the fucking old
I mean, how could you not?
Dude, talk about a man that doesn't forget a character. Patrick Stewart, go do some lessons with Ben Stiller, because Ben Stiller took this character from the mid-90s and he channeled it into his chi perfectly I'm just like shocked by it. It is amazing. Great opening scene for this movie.
It's a shame he didn't show up more.
Mm-hmm. I knew that it was probably his only scene, but I was really holding out hope that he'd be like it, maybe in the very final scene too. Maybe there'd be a scene where they go back to the loony bin and he does some stuff with them, but it didn't end up happening, unfortunately.
He has so many people he packed in though. Like it's
oh god, except for Alan Covert. Rest in peace, Alan Covert.
I mean, this movie is just fucking packed with people. I mean, you got Steve Buscemi, you got fucking Colin Quinn, my boy Colin Quinn showing up, fucking Shaq, dude.
Shaq was the most shocking cameo of this entire movie, and man, I wrestled between do I love this or I hate this when it came to Shaq's character in this movie. What do you think about that? Because it's like, you have this radio narrator who is doing the radio as Hubie goes through his day, and you hear her on the radio the whole movie. Then at the very end of the movie, you show up at this radio station, and you see Shaq is doing the voice. It is shocking. It is disturbing, but I also kind of like it.
It's Shaq's girlfriend with the manly voice.
Yes. Yeah, that was probably the weirdest cameo of the entire movie. I think that the Colin Quinn might have been the most boring cameo of the movie. I love Colin Quinn, but I feel like that he was in one scene and he was basically just macking on what's her name? The lead, Bowen. The girl from Happy Gilmore, who is also the love interest in this movie.
Oh yeah, Veronica or whatever.
Yeah, she's basically it's just her at this kids party, and then Adam Sandler shows up, and Colin Quinn's like the janitor, and he's just there macking on her, and it wasn't that funny, and it was like 1 30-second scene. I was like, dude, Colin Quinn's a legend. You should have given him a little more meat on the bone.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what Colin Quinn's from too, because he's been in previous Adam Sandler movies.
Has he?
In? Yeah, I know.
I'd have to.
Maybe
think
my
about
mind's
that.
playing tricks on me, but I swear he's kind of like he's more of a fringe one. But what's the one where it's the football one, like The Longest Yard or whatever?
Wait, was Adam Sandler in the remake of The Longest Yard?
he did the remake.
He did, didn't he? I totally forgot about that movie.
I think
maybe that's
maybe
what
it's
he was
that
from.
one. I don't know.
Yeah.
I might be making it up because
he wasn't in Waterboy, right?
I don't think so.
I don't
wasn't a coach. He wasn't.
Yeah.
Well,
either way, I think Colin Quinn deserved a little more heat on the plate.
He did.
Yeah.
Ray Liotta got more heat on the plate.
Ray Liotta got a lot. He had a huge role in this movie.
I always like seeing Ray Liotta show up.
Yeah. I loved Ray Liotta, but I feel like his character was a little on the nose.
He really hated that retard.
Like when we're talking like about how this movie is just basically a giant anti-bullying PSA when it really boils down, Ray Liotta is bully number one.
Yeah, and his excuse at the end was like not character saving at all. He's just like, well, I just don't like him because he's smarter than me, but he's dumb like a retard. So it doesn't make me feel good.
and this brings up one of the main problems I have with this movie, and it's not a big problem because this is a comedy. This is like a dumb comedy movie, and you're not supposed to think too deep into it. So I'm not going to judge it the same way I'm going to judge a new Blade Runner movie, as an example. But I still have some problems with this movie, and one of those problems is Ray Liotta in this end scene where he is talking about, he uses big words, and, I'm dyslexic, and I'm stupid, and I don't like big words. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, wait a second. This entire movie, you've basically been showing Adam Sandler to be a total fucking retard. And now you're trying to tell us that Ray Liotta doesn't like him because he's smart?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the end scene wasn't character saving at all.
Ray Liotta, I love Ray Liotta. I love him in almost everything I've ever seen him in. I don't love him in this movie. I think he's okay in this movie, and I think he was written very oddly.
Yeah, for sure. But he's always played. I think what happened was Ray Liotta has always played an asshole. Mm-hmm. Some movies he's a lovable asshole. Yeah. But for the most part, he's a villain.
I like him the most in the Chantrix commercials. That's some solid acting he does in this one.
I hope his lawyers aren't listening.
Yeah. When he's like, I kicked cigarettes so easy. I just imagine like them going cut and then immediately lighting a cigarette.
Oh, dude, dude. Nah, dude, Ray Liotta's a cigar man. He probably doesn't even smoke cigarettes.
I think he smokes both at the same time.
I guarantee you there's an audio tape, maybe videotape of him saying, and I quote, "Cigarettes are for pussies," and has a cigar in his mouth.
Yeah. One thing I did really like, though, were basically all of these giant sort of like scene capturing moments. Like there's sort of sectors of this movie where it all takes place at a grocery store, then it all takes place at a school, then it all takes place at a house party, and then like a bunch of scenes kind of cascade from these locations. Whenever you're going from one of these overall locations to the other, there's this bike riding scene with Adam Sandler where he's riding his little shitty bike through either the neighborhood or through a field or whatever. And every time people are just throwing random shit. I fucking love that. It reminded me of like SNL. Like it was really fucking hilarious, I thought. And it got funnier.
It reminded me of Trailer Park Boys, the fucking trailer kids throwing bottles at Leahy.
That's true. I didn't even think of that angle. It's one of those things that gets funnier the more it happens.
Bottle kids.
Like the first time it happens, you're like, oh, that's kind of funny. And then it happens again and you giggle again. And then it happens a third time and you giggle even harder. And then it happens the fourth time and you just start laughing. You're just like, oh yeah.
I mean, the movie kind of had this uncomfortable relationship with making fun of a disabled person. Mm-hmm. It was like that was like at the core of some of the comedy of this movie, but they somehow danced around it enough with
You think that's why they added the Ray Liotta line at the end to whitewash the rest of the movie?
Oh, absolutely. They were trying to absolve it.
We weren't making fun of a retard. He's the genius of the movie, guys. Dude. See, Ray Liotta said it. You trust Ray Liotta, don't you?
It's classic self-absolvement. But I think who stood out the most to me was Kevin James.
Yeah.
Kevin James hit it out of the park. I don't see him in a lot, but when he does show up, he fucking hits it out of the park. What was he, Paul Blart? Mm-hmm. Mall Cop? Yeah. Love that movie. Dude, he kind of reprised a more serious cop role in this one. And he knew how to play a sleazy cop.
He did. And the thing that I'll say about him in this movie is that his genuine hatred for Adam Sandler's character was palpable. Like when you have actors pretending to hate other actors because it's what the characters are supposed to do in a movie, sometimes you can kind of see through it. Like, you just be like, oh, these boys were having beers right after they shot the scene. You know, this is dumb. With this movie, in these scenes that he has with Adam Sandler, you can like feel his hatred of that character. Like, he does not like Adam Sandler, and you can just feel it. And I think that that's all for him. That's all his acting performance that made that happen.
That would be so funny if you found out they actually fucking hate each other. Adam's like, you know what? I know you hate me, but I got this role for you, and I really want you to channel that hate.
Dude, like, how genuine was that scene where he's like telling Adam Sandler, listen, I need to recruit you into a secret op called the ANU or whatever the fuck it was, where, listen, you're going to collect information from us, and then you're going to put it in a dumpster. But you can never talk to us again forever. Like, the way he delivered that scene, it was so believable. Like, you could just say, like, this guy really does not like this guy, and he really wants him to go away forever. I appreciated that from him, dude. Like, that. Those are the type of acting performances you don't usually get in stupid comedies like this. He delivered it, for sure.
It's so funny you say that, because now that I'm reflecting on it, I'm just like, you're right.
Yeah. But, man, this movie in general.
Oh, what about fucking, what was his name? It was Walter, Steve Buscemi's
character. Yeah, Steve Buscemi's character, which was, by the way, Steve Buscemi, he had like one of the main characters of this movie.
Yeah,
he
was probably the weirdest fucking role in this movie.
It was, and like Billy Madison is the cameo that he originates from. He was the lipstick killer guy who wrote the list of names of people he was going to kill.
Yeah,
and Billy Madison, and it was just interesting to see him sort of pop up in this movie and not just have a cameo, but basically be one of the leads.
Yeah, he had a lot more time than you would expect going into the movie.
Oh, for sure. Like, he had 30 seconds in Billy Madison. He had 30 minutes in this movie.
I think Adam Sandler was just trying to see who was available the most. Like, all right, you get the most screen time.
Maybe. But, yeah. One person that was in this movie that isn't a cameo that I wish would have had more time is Kenan Thompson from Kenan and Kel.
Yeah.
I really love Kenan Thompson. Like, everything I've ever seen him in, I love. I love his comedy on SNL. He's one of my favorite people in general in like my underrated comedic actors list. He's like number one on it. No one knows who he is unless you grew up with Kenan and Kel. And he gets no work, and he gets no respect, but I swear to God, the man is funny as fuck. Go back and watch Good Burger.
Oh, for
Good
sure.
Burger is the Kenan and Kel movie, basically. That movie is fucking hilarious, and it holds up to this day.
I think he just kind of I don't think he got taken seriously as an actor, and there's no offense to him, but he never really got in shape. He always kind of stayed really out of shape. And
dude, a rotund black man is great for comedy, and we all know that.
Yeah, but I mean, there's
look at Farmer Dan and Louise, man. They were like fucking half the comedy of this movie.
Yeah, for sure. Don't get me wrong. But I just don't think Hollywood took him seriously. But he was
they didn't.
Comedy wise, the guy was solid. It's kind of a shame he's just kind of sequestered to SNL.
Yeah. He really did not get much screen time in this movie. Like, I want to say like maybe 15 minutes. That might be pushing it. Maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, was there any other cops besides him and Kevin James?
No.
It was just him and Kevin James, right?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was really weird. He could have easily been. Him and Kevin James honestly could have probably worked off each other a lot in certain scenes. Maybe they just didn't like each other. Maybe Kevin James doesn't like anybody.
Kevin James.
He's like, wait a minute. Keenan's the other cop? Yeah. You said I was the cop. Yeah, there's two cops. All right, well.
Not anymore.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I get the lion's share of cock time.
Yeah, and speaking of cock time,
Circling cock time.
circling back to Ray Liotta, how cringe was it when he was hitting on the high school girls at that fucking haunted house?
That is textbook Ray Liotta right there.
Dude,
so.
when that was happening, I like felt shame for him as the scene was unfolding.
Yeah.
Like my heart felt his shame in that moment.
That's what they call third party shame.
Man,
I'm embarrassed for this person right now.
Ray Liotta, man, this is a weird movie for Ray Liotta.
He's so old, he probably doesn't give a flying fuck.
Well, I mean, he's doing Chantix commercials, so he's in it for the check. We know
He's
that
been
for
doing
sure.
the Chantix commercials for way long before he had gray hair, bro.
Yeah, like he was like 32 when he started Chantix commercials, and he's like pushing 65 now.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was doing them commercials back when I was pretty young.
Yeah, but going back to Steve Buscemi a little bit, I was kind of confused by his character Walter Lambert. And this is another one of those situations where it's like, am I going too deep into this? This is a dumb comedy. I should probably stay a little bit more shallow. But they were very unclear to me whether or not he was really a werewolf or if he was just a crazy person. What did you, like, when this movie finished, what were you thinking about his character, like, overall? Like,
Legitimately a crazy person.
So you think he was a crazy person?
Oh, yeah, dude, for sure.
Okay, well, here's what I'm going to say that, to me, invalidates that, and it's confusing to me. When Adam Sandler breaks into his house, the boarded up house, he falls into a hole in the ground that's like his basement, and he's looking around, and he finds Steve Buscemi crawled up in a corner. He's like, oh, no, acting like a werewolf and everything. And, Adam Sandler's just doing his little thing like, oh, what are you doing down here, man? Everything okay? At this point, Steve Buscemi gets up and he does like a Anbu Naruto ninja dash through the basement, up the ladder, upstairs. That to me looked supernatural. That did not look like a crazy person waddling up a staircase. It looked supernatural as fuck. And to me, that's super confusing when you're putting stuff that implies he is really a supernatural entity, then also implying he's just a crazy dude who needs to go back to the loony bin. I don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's something funny to play with, but I don't know. The progression of his character in the movie, I just kind of wrote him off as some dude trying to convince people he's a werewolf. especially dude, at the end, I died at the end when he's like, don't forget about me. Oh.
Right. And I think it would have been better if they didn't leave confusing elements like that imply he's really a werewolf, because I would prefer to just believe he's a crazy person and make the movie more funny.
I mean, we're not the comedy geniuses, though. So who knows?
Yeah.
How many comedies have you written, Daniel?
Well, I mean, there's also the other part at the very end where Paul Bart Mall Cop is like, I just don't understand why Adam Sandler's mom had to kill the pig. And he's like, oh, nah, dude, I was just hungry for a midnight snack. And you're just like, well, wait a second. This is another confusing thing, because it's like, if you're just a crazy person, you're not going to go kill some pig and then eat it raw. Like, that's not crazy. That's like satanic. You're crossing some lines here.
He could be staging all that, though.
Yeah, I don't know. To me,
trying to convince people he's
to
doing
me,
all this shit.
To me, that implicates that he's really a werewolf. And I fully admit that I'm going too deep into this, and that you're not supposed to. It's an Adam Sandler goofy comedy, but little things like that kind of bug me. So I just wanted to point it out.
I feel you.
Yeah. But
feel it.
Farmer Dan and Louise, I swear to God, those were the funniest. Like, it's so weird. I don't know who either of those two are actor-wise. I've never seen... I think Farmer Dan is actually in Better Call Saul. So I know who he is, but I've only seen him in Better Call Saul. And he's like basically a mute in that show. So like he doesn't talk, and he doesn't have funny quips or anything. In this movie, man, there are two scenes, one at their farm and then one at the police station, that are some of the funniest shit. Like, Paul Bart is interviewing him about the pig that got eaten by Steve Buscemi, apparently. And his wife just comes out and like starts talking shit, and they start talking shit to each other, and they just get into like this fucking knuckle dragging brawl or fight of like, your mama's so fat she break our furniture. Like, at least my mama never blew up our toilet, so we had to replace it. And like, it's just like some really cutting fighting stuff in them. And my favorite part of it was at the end, like, Farmer Dan was just sitting there like, oh, I love that pig. Peanut was my friend. Who could do this? And then Farmer Louise comes up and like, we gonna eat Peanut tonight. Like, it was just one of the funniest lines in the entire movie for my money. They also had some scenes in the police station that were pretty funny. Not quite as funny as that, but like still, like, they had like a great dynamic against each other. I think that they must know each other in real life. They had too much chemistry.
For sure.
Their chemistry was startling. What did you think about Rob Schneider, though, in this movie?
I thought he kind of let me down. Won't lie.
Yeah.
Because I knew he was going to be in the movie. By the time, like, you know, like after, I think he only showed up like 2/3 of the way of the movie, right? Maybe halfway through.
Right. So basically, the movie starts with an insane prison person or some, you know, loony bin person escaping the loony bin. Yeah. And that person's name is Hartman. That's the person that was with Ben Stiller in that opening scene that we love so much.
Yeah.
He wasn't actually there. He had escaped and left him a little message. So in this movie, the entire way through the movie, they imply that this guy is the killer and that he's the villain of the movie. And then eventually, like at the very end of the movie, he just shows up in Steve Buscemi's house and is like, hey, dude, we need to talk. And like, then they just like bro out and go turn themselves into a police station. Very weird.
Yeah. Hugh Keenan.
I think this is Rob Schneider's worst role. I don't think I've ever seen him be less funny in anything.
Rob hasn't been funny for a while.
Yeah, he has kind of lost his edge. Yeah, no, you're right. He has lost his edge for sure. I actually think Rob Schneider's funniest performance isn't even in an Adam Sandler movie. You know what I think it is?
What? Down
Periscope. Do you remember that movie?
Oh, with fucking Frasier?
Yep, with fucking Frasier. Yeah, dude. Down Periscope, he was fucking hilarious in that movie. And he has lost 8 steps since then. He is not funny in this. His character isn't written to be funny. His character isn't written to be him. I think that God rest his soul, Alan Covert would have been a better person for the Hartman role. It didn't make sense.
Alan, hit us up. We can give you some ad space on the podcast. We'd also love to have you as a guest. We can, shout out any social media creds you got. What's up?
But yeah. So he's Rob Schneider's supposed to be the villain, and then like there's this scene where they're all in like this house together, like all the main adult characters, and they're like, "Who did it? Who done it?" Like Clue style, trying to figure out who the murderer is. And Adam Sandler proclaims, "I know who it is. It's Steve Buscemi, man. He's a werewolf." And then it cues to Steve Buscemi with Rob Schneider at the police station with Kenan Thompson being like, oh yeah, we're just chilling here and things are happening and let's go back to the loony bin. And it totally breaks the entire premise of what we're seeing. So now we're set up for the big twist. And then the big twist ends up being that it was Hubie's mom who was the villain the entire time. I like the twist because it's unbelievable and it shocked me and I was genuinely surprised by it. I don't like it because it is so unbelievable. It is not a believable twist. There is no way this old ass woman who can barely waddle herself upstairs abducted 5 people that are able-bodied, young, and virulent, and was able to not only subdue them, but then hang them by stakes like Jesus. Give me a fucking break.
Well, you gotta suspend the disbelief a little bit.
Big time for that.
What I didn't like is they didn't take it to the limit. Like when I saw that she was ended up being the villain, I was like, oh,
Yeah, this movie felt like it could have gone multiple directions. And they really tried to ride the line between those two directions. It never wants to fully be like a serious comedy, and it never wants to be a serious or a goofy comedy. It like wants to like teeter the line between the two. Yeah. And I think that this twist would have worked a lot better if she was genuinely villainous instead of like, I'm just really a good mom that's protective of her son, which is what it like ends up being. And it's like, no, because if you're going to do this shit, you're a fucking crazy evil bitch, and you're not going to just like, you know, have like an after school special at the end.
It is really weird. The more and more I think about the ending, it's like 50-50 for me. Mm-hmm. It's like, it kind of sucked. It was good though. I just feel like it just did like the mentality of the lady, like the character just wasn't fully developed. It's like, well, you go all the way 99%, and then the 1% is supposed to be the redeeming stopping point of the story. Yeah. It's like, no. That bitch is crazy. She should, no way.
And it was set up perfectly, too, because one of my favorite parts about this movie are the T-shirts that the mom wore throughout the movie.
Yeah.
These T-shirts were like, I don't know if they're real or if they had them custom made, but they were incredible. I did like the slow-mo, though, of Sandler throwing the soup on the match. What did you think about that? Because it was like a parody almost of like
MacGyver shit.
Yeah, it felt like a parody of MacGyver.
I don't know. Again, I just thought it was stupid. It's like, that's the linchpin to save from 3 or 4 people burning down.
Yeah.
Good thing the retard has an epic aim with his fucking Swiss fucking thermostat or thermos.
Yeah. I think another big contribution the mom made was the boner meme. So the very beginning of this movie, the very first weird shirt she has on is something to do with boners. I forget exactly what it was, but Adam Sandler's character walks up to her like, "Hey, what's up? What's up with your shirt?" And she's like, "Well, I don't know what a boner means. I think it's a mistake." And he just takes it to heart immediately at the very beginning of this movie. And the rest of the movie, he refers to every mistake he makes as a boner. I think that is some of the more genuine comedy from Adam Sandler in this movie. His delivery of those boner lines.
I think it's...
Sorry, that was my boner.
I think it has double meaning, too, because I think boner actually really meant something along those lines back in the day.
Maybe. That's a good point.
Real boner.
Well, speaking of boners, Broadcaster Nickels, as you know, here on the Crack Cellar Podcast, we have a segment called The Hit, The Miss, and The Whiff. Broadcaster Nickels, what is your hit?
I would say Kevin James. Kevin James is the sheriff, or I guess is that who he was?
Yeah.
Is he just a cop? Just a cop, whatever.
It felt like he was the sheriff, but he wasn't. Yeah, it's very unclear what he is, but he's the quote unquote lead cop. We'll call him the lead cop.
I was a pretty big fan of his character. I just like Kevin James. I wish he'd show up in more movies.
Yeah. I think he has too much money now. I think he just doesn't care. So he probably only did this movie because he's boys with Adam Sandler. He's like, all right, fuck it, I'll do it.
His genuine hatred just like really just embodied his role.
It did.
It just, again, it came off genuine, and I loved it.
Yep. Yeah, he had one of the more genuine performances in the movie. So I will agree with you there.
And I always like seeing shady, greasy cops that always, especially when the actors got that iconic, like, semi-open mouth kind of disdain look, you know, like, looking like they're licking their upper lip trying to reach their mustache or something like that, you know? It's like, he did it well.
Yeah. Well, my hit is Ben Stiller in the cold open, reprising his role as the evil old folks home manager in Happy Gilmore. When I saw him doing this, all I could think about is the scene with him and Happy Gilmore's grandma in the fucking in the sweatshop in the old folks home making quilts or whatever. And him just telling her to shut the fuck up. Like, remember that scene where he just like says,
"Oh yeah, dude."
It was great. That was a very powerful use of nostalgia by Adam Sandler, by having him come in not as just a general cameo of Ben Stiller, but actually reprising a role from a previous Adam Sandler movie in a very like specific way. I thought that was genius and I loved it. That being said, Broadcaster Nickels, what is your miss?
It's funny you said it way early in the spoiler section, but it was Colin Quinn.
Yeah,
Colin Quinn was my miss. I was like, because he's one of my favorite fucking comedians, and I was like, as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh sweet, and then I was like,
yep.
Wow, that was weird.
Yeah, it was. It was such a weird little scene.
Yeah, not only was he casted wrong, but he got like very little time. He should have been.
And what he got wasn't written that well either. It's like he kind of got boned in this movie, I'd say.
Real boner.
Yeah, it was a real boner. Well, my miss is Rob Schneider as Hartman. When that whole thing happened and it's revealed that Hartman is Rob Schneider, it killed the Hartman character for me. It just killed it. And the whole premise of this movie from the beginning was there's this escaped loony, Michael Myers style. Like basically, Rob Schneider, his Hartman character was supposed to be a Michael Myers character. And instead, it ended up Rob Schneider with no comedic edge and a weird afro with like 3 scenes strung together where he is absolutely not funny, absolutely doesn't fit the character, and absolutely looks bored to even be in the movie.
He does. He really does look bored.
That being said, Broadcaster Nickels, what is your whiff?
My whiff is actually a combination of your hit and miss. So I thought fucking Ben Stiller in the beginning was definitely a hit. Like it was just one of the best parts of the movie. It gave me a lot of nostalgia and it just reminded me that Ben Stiller needs to get back to comedic acting.
Yes.
But when you see him and then you see the escape, you're like, well, you think you might see a little bit more of Ben Stiller, but then you end up getting Rob Schneider's character from the insane asylum, but he sucks. And he doesn't even want to play the character. You can tell he's just this lame duck. And so it was kind of just like, what did you guys do? There was like a huge whiff. Like, there's a missed opportunity there. You guys should have replaced the roles a little bit. Like give Rob Schneider a one-off scene in the beginning and fucking let Ben Stiller be the fucking reoccurring guy that has to go get fucking the escaped insane person.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's kind of a complex whiff. I think that's probably the most complex whiff you've ever come up with. I like it.
Yeah,
you're saying they underuse Ben Stiller and they overuse Rob Schneider. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
but that might just be, again, like I said in the very beginning, availability.
Probably.
He had a lot of people in this movie.
And Ben Stiller is another one of those guys that's so fucking rich, he does not have to do anything. He probably did this as a favor. In fact, I think that you can kind of say that this movie is proof that everyone that works with Adam Sandler loves him because they all showed back up for this movie. Everyone.
Yeah.
Can you imagine like every friend you ever had in your entire life showing up for like your 80th birthday? That's sort of what this movie feels like.
He made a lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of those people are made by him.
Yeah. True that. That being said, my whiff is Ray Liotta at the end of this movie, crying like a little bitch saying, I hate Adam Sandler because he uses big words. Yeah. I wanted to rip my eyes out of my sockets when I was seeing this scene.
I wanted just to go chug a half gallon and remember Goodfellas. And
yeah, exactly. Not only does this just desecrate the memory of Ray Liotta in every other movie he's ever done, literally, except for this one, but it did not fit the character in the movie. It didn't fit him as an actor. It didn't fit the writing throughout the rest of the movie. It even just like conflicted with the overall persona of Ray Liotta himself. Nothing about this scene was genuine. It felt so contrived and cringy and unbelievable. And it is the definition of a whiff for me. I could hear the air whiffing as this scene was going on in my head. Broadcaster Nickels, as you know, here on the Crack Cellar, we use the patented official Joker rating system. On that system, what do you rate Hubie Halloween?
After careful deliberation and consideration, I give it 1 Kevin Spacey. I'm sorry, hold on, cut.
Too soon.
I'm gonna give it a Heath Ledger. No, you know what? That's not right. I'm gonna bump it up. I'm gonna give it 1. What's right? What's above Heath Ledger?
God damn it, Broadcaster Nickels. I'm too old for this shit.
I forgot. Is it Jack Nicholson's right above Heath Ledger?
Affirmative.
Okay. I'm gonna give it a Jack Nicholson. I mean, I think the movie it rides close to a Heath Ledger, a C, if you will.
It's a B, actually.
A B, if you will.
The expert on the Joker rating system, Broadcaster Nickels, everyone.
I'm gonna have to get a chart and put it above my desk. Anyways, I think it kind of hovers around that line, you know, where it's like, I think it's close to mid-tier, but I think such little holiday movies come out that are of at least that arise to such a standard or go past it that I'm going to give it an A. You know, I think it deserves it.
Yeah. I too will give it a Jack. I'm going to give it a simple Jack. Borderline for sure. And, you know, with the Ben Stiller connection to this movie, Simple Jack is very meta. Yeah, very meta. So I'm going to stand strong.
That's what we do, folks. We're meta dogs.
Yeah, we never go full retard here on the Crack Cellar Podcast.
Oh, no, I go retard a lot.
This is not the best Adam Sandler movie. It is not a Happy Gilmore. It is not a Billy Madison. I do think it's right up there on the same level as a Mr. Deeds, though, or Big Daddy. I think it's right there in that tier of Adam Sandler. And for most Adam Sandler fans, that's a pretty big upgrade because we've been dealing with some drivel lately. It's this interesting middle ground that I think is actually going to capture some new audience. I feel like this movie is going to capture a different audience for Adam Sandler. And with that, we will close out.
I'm proud to be an American.
O'Doyle rules!